So what is feminine energy? Is it being a woman? Is it being soft and slow? What is it? And it's a great question. And I see feminine energy actually in a way that may be different than what a lot of people say. And I feel that feminine energy, so it's like you have masculine and feminine, right? These are the polarities. These are the spectrum. These are the two opposites. And I see masculine as the push, and I see feminine as the pull. So I see feminine energy as a very magnetic energy. You know, when a woman is in her full feminine essence, what you probably see from her is that she magnetizes people to her, or opportunities to her, or she just has this thing about her that pulls you in. And I find that this is the feminine energy. And a lot of people see the feminine energy, you know, as receptive and maybe even like yin and more calm and flowing, which is true to an extent, but I find that it doesn't cover the whole spectrum of feminine energy. Feminine energy is maybe more yin in nature, but it's very powerful in the way it magnetizes. If you look at like Cleopatra or a lot of very powerful women, they were yin, but they had a pull to them. They were like a magnet. They attracted power, they attracted opportunity, they attracted the right people. So feminine energy is juicy, it's magnetic, and it pulls things to it. Masculine energy likes to go out and get it. It likes to go on the hunt. It likes to seek and to conquer and to grab and to accomplish. And the feminine energy can do that through pulling in. So what are 5 ways that you can do this? What are 5 ways to help you tap into that feminine magnetic energy? The number one, and the one I find most accessible for me, is nature. So getting into nature, putting yourself in situations that have lots of trees, or going in the ocean. Nature I consider quite magnetic. By nature, I consider it quite feminine. It pulls people in, it gives off life, but it's not out there like running around chasing things. It's still and it's present, but it's got a power to it. And I invite you to try it. Challenge yourself. If you go into the woods, or if you go to a park, or if you go into a garden, your energy kind of drops down and in. It's not so much of a fast push energy. It's more of a receptive and powerful. And nature, for me in particular, when I'm feeling low on energy, or if I'm not connected to my juice or my passion, if I go into nature, if I go to the ocean, and I just stop my mind and I breathe, or I just breathe the power of nature into my body, I feel so recharged. My face brightens, my voice lifts, everything about me picks up an octave. And when I'm vibrating higher, when I have more energy to me, I am much more magnetic for people, for situations, for clients, for opportunities. When I'm magnetic, because I've filled up on nature, I am much more in my feminine energy, where I don't have to push life and chase it, I can let it come to me. So spending time in nature, connecting with trees, with water, anyone you like, going on hikes, these really increase your magnetic power. So number 2 is color. What do I mean by that? Color brings me personally so much connection to my feminine energy. And it's because when you pay more attention to the color of your food, the color of your clothing, the color of your notebooks, the color of the pens you're using, it puts you in this state of observing. If you're just simply in maybe more of your masculine energy, which is conquering and going out, chasing and pushing, which isn't bad. It's not bad at all. It's super wholesome, but it can be unbalanced if you're just jumping from one thing to the next and accomplishing a task or going after something, and you're always in this state of like getting something done. You're probably not going to think so much about color. So for me, it's a great reminder, because if I take that time every morning and I say, okay, what color do I actually feel like wearing today? And for me it was blue today. And I was like, alright, I'm gonna wear blue. And I don't have to think about it for hours and look at my wardrobe. It's as simple as tuning in and letting go of the thoughts of accomplish and do, and come more into a space of what feels good. Look at the colors. Which one jumps out to you? It's a very act of feminine energy, magnetism, and it lets you tap into something much deeper. So color is huge, and it may sound silly, but it's actually an amazing way to tap into your feminine energy, because it might be one of the last things you think of. And those things that come as the wild card that can really change the game. And if you find that you have more masculine energy in your life, whether you're a man or a woman watching this, start paying attention to color. What colors do you go for in your wardrobe? What colors do you go for in your objects or your materials? What color foods excite you? It opens this whole doorway of like juiciness and magnetism. And the third one, which is kind of in the same field of this, it's essential oils. And these as well have been a pivotal part of my feminine energy journey. And again, color, which is sight, essential oils, which is smell. Our feminine energy really can be linked to our senses. Our masculine energy can be linked to our senses, but it is very linked to our mental capability to focus and create and to achieve, which is awesome. We need both. But when we tap more into our senses, which is our internal state, and what gets our senses activated, our feminine energy is when we're activated, when we've got presence, when we've got power, when we're feeling and smelling and touching and looking. It's magnetic, and it's so attractive, and it's so it really can pull things to you in life. So getting connected to your senses is a huge way to tap into the feminine. And I say essential oils because essential oils, for one, you get to smell these beautiful oils, but two, on a subtle level that you don't even have to be aware of. These essential oils are like medicine. So if you keep a rose oil by your bed and you smell that each morning, one, okay, it smells nice, but it's actually doing something to you. It's activating you. It's activating something in you. It's like taking medicine. It's like taking a pill for your feminine energy. Essential oils, I remember when I was living in Bali when I met my partner Charlie, and I had always wanted an essential oil kit, and I arrived at his house in Australia, because I went back to Australia with him, and he had this drawer full of essential oils, and I was just beside myself. I was just so excited. I was like, do you use these every day? Like, this is an amazing toolkit. And he was like, oh, like sometimes I use them like for my water or things. And I just went to town. I started like playing with each of the oils and making mixtures and blends, and it really activated something in me. Activated this magic and this real like juiciness where I was just so connected to myself. I could smell an oil and I could smell where that was going in my body, if that was helping my heart, if that was helping my head or my third eye. So you don't have to go that deep, but even just having a small kit of essential oils and looking up what they are and what they stand for and what they do can help you really activate that feminine energy. So number 4, we have intuition. And this, of course, is probably the biggest one everyone knows about. Feminine energy, intuitive, creative, really knowing like what you want and need. And it's the one that's been conditioned out of us the most. And I've got a bit of a story with my intuition and a time when I really listened to it and how it changed my life. And I went on a gap year after high school. I was like, college is not for me right now. I need to spend some time in nature. I want to go to New Zealand. So I went to New Zealand and I was there for 10 months. And I decided before flying home I wanted to go to Bali because it was right next door. I had never been anywhere in Asia and that culture. So I went to Bali and I started exploring feminine energy in many ways. Yoga, food, meditation, magnetism, sexuality. And when my 1 month in Bali was up and it was time to go home to America and go home to the family that was waiting, and the college that was waiting, and the boyfriend that was waiting, and the job that was waiting. Everything was pulling me, to America. But I was in the airport on the morning of my flight, and I just had these pains ripping through my belly. I was so distraught. I felt like I was gonna vomit. I was feeling sick. I was feeling like I couldn't move an inch. I got to the gate 3 hours early, and I was the first one there. No one was there. And I just couldn't move. After I checked in and was sitting there with my ticket, I was just distraught. And everything in my body and my heart and my intuition was screaming at me, don't go to America. Like, you've opened something here. Follow your heart. Stay here, it will be okay. But my mind was telling me, go to America. You literally have everything there expecting you and waiting for you. A boyfriend, family members waiting to pick me up at the airport within 20 hours. Everything you could imagine. And I didn't have any money left in Bali. I had like very, very little money. But I couldn't deny it. I couldn't deny that my heart was speaking so much louder than my head. My head was saying, what are you doing? Don't be ridiculous. Like, you've got to go home. Like, cool, you think you can just stay in Bali. That's not going to happen. But my heart was like, no, you need to stay. It will work out. It will be okay. And everyone had boarded the flight. I was just sitting there looking at my ticket, pile of tears. The woman comes up and she's like, are you getting on this plane? Like, you're Kelly, you're the last one, we're closing the gate. And I just looked at her and I said, no, I'm not getting on this plane. And with hands shaking and a heart beating so hard out of my chest, I just turned around and walked out of the airport. Walked back through the check-in and the costumes and told them I was leaving. And everything changed from that point. I learned that my heart is the barometer. My intuition is the barometer. My mind is a tool, but I can't override that intuition. And this is something that we have access to many times in our life. Maybe it's in a relationship. You have a strong feeling. You're like, this is hurting my soul. I need to make a change. Or this is what I really need. Listen to those callings. Listen to them. We live in a world so dominated by our heads. But if we just take one step inward and close our eyes and really feel what's going on in our emotions, feel what's going on in our heart and our desires. And this has to be cultivated. I wasn't just born this way. I had to cultivate this. But the more you do it, the more you can cultivate it. And look for help, look for resources, connect with people who have done it. And you can do it too. And our fifth and last one is pleasure. This is a fun one. Pleasure can mean many things, but it's going from a place of doing something because it's productive or you have to get it done, to doing something because it makes you feel good. It makes you excited, or it makes you feel juicy, or it makes you feel turned on. It makes you happy to be alive. It makes you really feel like yourself. And our world, our society has done a really good job at saying that's bad. You know, we've all been convinced from our parents and their parents to be martyrs. Put everyone else's pleasure first. Do it for the team, then take care of yourself. No, like, be productive, or don't get so caught up in your pleasure. Don't be so selfish. When we are in our pleasure and we're doing things daily that make us feel fucking amazing, you just watch and see. You're going to give so much better to the world. You're going to show up so much better for your partner. You're going to show up so much better for your work and your family and your friends if you are taking time for your pleasure. No one wants like a dry sponge around them who's just lifeless and bored. Maybe some people do actually, because then they feel safe to be lifeless and bored as well. Or we get into the trap of comparing. Well, I'm not as bored as that person, or I'm not as depressed as that person. And it creates this real downward spiral. But if you want to tap into your feminine energy and magnetize life and money and opportunities and partners to you, you've got to be connected to your pleasure. That could be so many things. That could be any of the things we listed. Going to nature, playing with color. Or it could be touching yourself daily. Or it could be giving yourself a bath. Anything that just gets you in your pleasure, gets you feeling juicy, is really going to activate that feminine energy. And when you activate that feminine energy, life flows to you. It really does. It's not just a gimmick or a nice sounding affirmation. Life comes to you when you're a magnet for it. When you're like, yes, life, come to me. You want to be with me, it will come. So there are your 5 tips for tapping into feminine energy. And I advise you to do them all. Start out today. See how you go.
Mr. Worldwide to infinity. You know the roof on fire. We gon' boogie.